students, and welcome in the online session of class 10th Science Chapter 3 Light. As you all know that we are continuing the topic spherical mirrors. In the last session we have covered the image formation by the concave mirror. Today we are starting with the topic how to measure the focal length of the concave mirror. After it we'll see the mirror formula concept, then what is magnification. Then we'll try to understand what are the rules for tracing the images which are formed by convex mirrors, then image formation by convex mirrors, characteristics of the images which are formed by convex mirrors, some of the uses of concave and convex mirrors, and lastly, the difference between the images which are formed by plane, concave, and convex mirror. So let us start with the first topic, that is how to measure the focal length of the concave mirror. Fine. So using this diagram, let us try to understand. Here a window is seen. Outside the window you can see many of the objects are shown. One tree is here, mountain, lakes, road, okay, grasses. So many of the objects are seen here. And here you can see there is a meter rod kept on the table. There is a holder. This one is the holder which is holding the concave mirror. Okay, this is acting as a screen. Okay, and again this is the meter rod. So how to find now the focal length of the concave mirror? Now objects which are outside the window, they are acting as the objects which are kept at infinity. Fine. So you have understood the concepts that whenever parallel rays of light from the objects at infinity strike the mirror, then the image is formed at the focus point. Okay, this you have studied in the last session. So we are assuming that objects which are outside the window, they are at infinity position, and parallel rays of light will come from here and they will strike the mirror. When they will strike the mirror will reflect the light and the image will be seen on the screen. Fine. This will be the mechanism. Now, what we have to do is we have to adjust the position of the mirror and the screen such that the image formed on the screen should be very clear. Okay. So what we'll do now, we will adjust the mirror and the screen till the clear image is formed on the screen. As soon as we get the clear image on the screen, we'll hold the positions. Fine. And the position, suppose this is kept at 5 centimeters. Okay. And if at 10 centimeter here on the screen you get the clear image, that means 10 minus 5. So what is the focal length of the concave mirror? So focal length will be 5 centimeters. Okay. What is focal length now? Focal length is the distance from the focus point to the pole of the mirror. From the center of the mirror to the focus point where the image is formed, this distance is called the focal length. Okay, so this can be measured in this way. Okay, so this was to give a clear idea to you that how the focal length of the concave mirror is measured. Fine. Let us move on to the next concept now, that is mirror formula. Now mirrors means both the mirrors we are talking about, convex as well as concave. Okay. Now let us try to understand what is mirror formula. Mirror formula here is given. You can see here the mirror formula, 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. Now here you can see that three variables are used. One is F, one is V, and the other one is U. F you all know. F is the focal length. Focal length again the distance between the focus point F and the P. Okay. So what is F here? F is equal to the distance from pole to the focus point. Remember children, this is small f and this is capital F. Okay. So this is F, focal length here. And 1 upon F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. Now let us see what is this V and what is this U. So U is nothing but the distance of the object. the distance of the object from the pole of the mirror. Remember children, all the distances are always measured from the pole of the mirror. Pole is the center of the mirror. So all the distances are measured from the pole. So from pole, the distance of the object on the left side is u. And what is v now? V is the distance of the image again from the pole of the mirror. All the distances are measured from the pole. And f is nothing but the distance of principal focus of the mirror from the pole. Fine. So relation of f, v and u gives the mirror formula. So what is mirror formula? Mirror formula is 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. Okay. Now, if r is the radius of curvature of the spherical mirror, then f is equal to r by 2. Okay. Now, if in the numericals sometimes the value of r is given, so you can find the value of f. Okay. F is nothing but r by 2. If you divide the radius of curvature by 2, you will get the focal length. Okay. Now, remember this formula f is equal to r by 2. This will be helpful to you in your numericals when you'll solve. Okay. And this mirror formula as well you have to learn 1 by f is equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u, where small f is representing the focal length, v is representing the distance of the image from pole, and small u is the distance of object from the pole of the mirror. Okay. So this is all about the mirror formula. Now, next is linear magnification. Again, this is a new concept, linear magnification. All the mirrors produce the linear magnification. So let us see what is it. Linear magnification is the ratio of height of the image to the height of the object. Okay, height of the image upon height of the object. This ratio will give you magnification. Magnification is represented by small letter m. So m is equal to I by O. And now here this image distance is represented by h2 and the height of the object is represented by h1. So you can write it as h2 by h1. Okay, you can write in this format also or you can write in this format also. Both are the same. Fine. So this is magnification. Okay, magnification is the ratio of height of the image upon height of the object. Now, let us study some of the cases. Like first case is when the image is magnified or enlarged. What will happen to the size of the image now? How you will find out? So when the image is magnified or enlarged, size of the image is greater than the size of the object. This is very clear. When we say that the image formed is very much large, enlarged, magnified, so this is very clear that the size is more than the size of the object. So in that case, what will happen? H2 is greater than H1. Fine. H2 is greater than H1. So what will happen in this case? If this ratio, if H2 is greater, so naturally when you find the ratio, whatever answer you will get will be more than 1. So you will get m greater than 1 here. Okay. So in the numericals, if your value of m comes more than 1, that simply means that the image is magnified or enlarged. Okay. In the numericals, when you'll find the value of m, if it comes more than 1, that means the image form is enlarged image. Fine. These are the symbols which you can directly use to find out what type of image is formed. Then let us see what is case number 2. If the image is of the same size as that of the object, if size of the object and size of the image both are same, that what will happen? H2 is equal to H1. That means H2 is equal to H1. In that case, what will happen? What will be the ratio now, children? It will be equal to 1. Fine. So if in numericals your value of m comes to 1, that means the size of the object is same as the size of the image. Okay, size of the image is equal to the size of the object. Okay, you can use the word height also or you can use the word size also. It's both are same. Now, let us study what is case number 3. when the image is smaller than the object. Image formed is smaller than the object. Okay, so that means H2 is smaller than H1. Okay, H2 is smaller than H1. If a small number is up, that means suppose 2 by 4 I am taking, suppose. Okay, that means H2 is smaller than H1. Just an example I am giving you. So what will happen, whatever value of M you will get here, that will be more than 1 or it will be less than 1, children. Naturally, when you will divide this, you will get a value less than 1. Okay, so less than 1. If in numericals you get the value of M less than 1, that means that the image is small in size than the height of the object. Okay, so you have seen here three cases. When the image is enlarged, then the value of M is always greater than 1. If this height of the image and the height of the object are same, then value of M will be 1. If the size of the image is smaller than the size of the object, that means the value of M is less than 1. Okay, hope you all have understood the concept. No need to get confused in it. It is simply, magnification is simply the ratio of height of image upon height of object. And three cases we have studied. What happen if the image is large? What happen if the image is of same size? What happen if the image is smaller? So if image is large, M is greater than 1. If both are same, then it is 1. And if image size is smaller than object, then M value will be less than 1. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the next topic now. Magnification, again, some points are given here. The image formed may be real or virtual. Fine. So two types of images we have seen, real and virtual. That depends on the position of the object. Fine. So on this basis, let us see again, see two cases. So first case, let us see the first case now. When the image is real and inverted, fine, that is the image lies below the principal axis. Please don't get confused. This is a very clear concept that if the image is inverted, inverted means it is below the principal axis, fine, and it is real. Therefore, H2 is negative. In the sign convention, you have studied that if an image is formed below the principal axis, suppose this is the principal axis and the image is formed below it, fine. So what sign you will give to it? The sign used will be negative. If the image is formed above the principal axis, the sign used is positive. Okay. So what is the meaning here? That if the image is real and inverted, what will happen? H2 is negative. Fine. If H2 is negative, now let us again come back to our formula M. H2 upon H1. Okay. Now what will happen to the value of M if H is negative? Fine. If H is negative now, H2 is negative now. So what will happen to the value of M? M will also be negative. Yes, M will also be negative. So if the image is real and inverted, that means M value will always come negative value, a negative number. Okay. Now next case. When the image is virtual and erect. Erect means above the principal axis, so sign used will be plus. Okay, so in that case, if H2 is in plus, that means it is erect. So what will happen to the value of M now? Yes, M will also be positive. If this complete ratio is positive, so value of M will also positive. Okay, now and see, height of the object is always positive because object is always kept on the principal axis. So this is always positive. H1 is always positive. Okay. Now the last point here is that magnification of spherical mirror is also related to object distance and image distance. Means M can also be related to V and U. Okay, so this complete is the formula which can be formed, that M is equal to H2 upon H1. This is our formula for M which we have studied now. Now this can also be correlated to distance of image and distance of object. So this M is also equal to minus V upon U. This formula also can be used in the numericals. Fine. So this is M. M is equal to H2 minus H2 upon H1. This can also be equal to minus V upon U. Children, you can use these proportions for finding the numericals. Fine. If out of these four things, three things are given to you, you can find the fourth one as you do in maths. Okay, v is the distance of the image and u is the distance of the object. So if you know any three of them, fourth one you can find out. So this relation can be used. Okay. Now let's move on to the next topic. Now, so here we complete with the concave mirror. Okay, rules we have studied, image formation we have studied, mirror formula we studied, and then the magnification produced by the mirrors. Now let us start with the convex mirror now. Okay, so we are starting with the convex mirror. I hope you all remember how the convex mirror looks. Convex mirror is bent outside, that means reflecting surfaces outwards, here this side. Okay, now let us study rule number one. Rule number one for tracing the images. So what is the rule? That if a ray of light falls on the mirror in a direction parallel to the principal axis. So this is the ray which is coming towards, you can see, and this one is parallel to the principal axis. This is our principal axis, fine. So this is parallel to the principal axis. Now after striking the mirror, here reflection will occur and it will bend like this. It is bending, you can see. But if you back trace this reflected ray, if you back trace, you will find that the ray is passing through the point F. Okay, so how can we change the language and see that when a ray of light falls on the mirror in a direction parallel to the principal axis of the convex mirror, it appears to be coming from its focus. It appears, it is not actually coming, students, it appears to be coming. Okay, so if you back trace this ray of light, you will find that it is coming from F. Okay, so it will go like this, means a parallel ray which is coming. So from the focus you will trace the line and it will be reflected like this way. So reflected ray appears to be passing from the focus point. This is rule number one. Okay, in case of convex mirror. Now see what is rule number two. So a ray of light falling on a convex mirror on passing through the center of curvature. You can see this is the ray of light which is coming towards the mirror. Okay, when it strikes here, if it is back extended, it appears that it is coming from the center of curvature. So the rule is, if the light appears to coming from center of curvature, it is retraced by its own path, means it will go on the same path. It will go on the same path from where it is coming. So this is rule number 2 in case of convex mirror. Okay, this was rule number 1. Okay, and this is rule number 2. Now let's see rule number 3. A ray of light which falls on a convex mirror on passing through focus. If a ray of light is coming like this one is the ray of light which is coming. Okay, and if you backtrace this, it appears that it is coming from the focus. Okay, so after striking the mirror, it gets parallel. It gets parallel. Students, all the rules are same as of the concave mirror, but here the rays are not actually coming from those points. They appear to come from those points. That is only the difference. Okay. So if a ray of light comes and strikes the mirror in that way, that if you back trace, it appears that it is coming from F point, then after reflection, it becomes parallel to the principal axis. Okay, this is rule number 3. Don't get, all of you don't get, confused. Just read very calmly, you will understood the concepts. Now, rule number 4. A ray of light which is incident obliquely towards the pole of the convex mirror is reflected obliquely. This you have studied the same as of the concave mirror. A ray of light which falls obliquely will follow the laws of reflection and will get reflected obliquely. That means angle I will be equal to angle R in this case. Okay, so these are the 4 rules of image formation in case of convex mirrors. Right? Now, let us start with image formation by the convex mirror. Let us see case number 1. Case number 1 is when the object is at infinity. If the object is kept at infinity, means at a very large distance from the convex mirror. So what type of rays will come, children? Yes, parallel rays we have to use. So here you can see two diagrams are shown. So parallel rays, you can see like both the rays above the principal axis, or one ray above, one ray below the principal axis. Anyhow you can show the diagrams, both are correct. So let us discuss first one, that these two parallel rays are coming from the infinity and they strike the mirror at point D and point E. Okay, so after reflection what will happen, that you will backtrace the rays and it will appear that they are coming from focus point F, and if you make it straight then they will get reflected in this way. Okay, they get reflected in this way. Backtraced reflected rays will appear to be coming from point F. This was rule number 1 which we have studied now. Fine. So where the image will be formed now, students? Obviously image will be formed at F, but the rays are not actually meeting. So what type of image it will be? It will be a virtual image. That means the rays are not actually meeting, they appear to meet. We have back extended them and we have met them at one point. So this is virtual image, and virtual image is always formed above the principal axis, so it is erect also. Fine. And now, can you tell me what is the location of the mirror? What is the location of the image formed? Now see, this is the mirror. Front of the mirror is this side. But now the image is formed behind the mirror. This is behind the mirror. Okay. Image will be formed at this point F. And this point F is now behind the mirror. So what will write, that the image is virtual and erect. It is formed behind the mirror at point F. Okay, and the image formed will be very 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 small. So it is highly diminished. Highly diminished means very small. Point size image will be formed. Okay, let us try to understand the diagram number 2 now. You can see here these are the two parallel rays which are coming. Okay, so they will get reflected like this, and if you will back trace, they will appear to be coming from point F. So the image again formed at F, because the rays are not actually meeting, so it is virtual image and very point size image, and the image is formed behind the mirror. So out of the two diagrams, any one which you feel comfortable and easy, you can draw. Okay. Now let's move on to case number 2. Case number 2 is when the object is at finite distance from the mirror. Finite means the distance which can be measured. So in see convex mirror, only two cases are there. One, the object is at infinity, and the other one is that when the object is at finite distance. Finite means measurable distance. So you can keep the object at C point, F point, between C and F, then between F and P, anywhere. Fine. So finite distance means measurable distance. Now, image formed is, now see, we are using two rays for simplicity as we have discussed. So this is the object now. AB is the object. Now two rays are coming. This is the first ray. So when this parallel, which is parallel to the principal axis, so when it strikes the mirror at point D, what happens? It get reflected in this direction like this, and when you backtrace it, it will appear that it is coming from the point F. Okay. Now another we have taken, which is, now you can see if back traces, it is passing through C. So any ray which appears to be coming from C retraces the same path. Okay. So they both, now this reflected back traced one and this reflected back traced one are meeting at this point A dash. Okay, A dash, and this will be now B dash. So what is the image form now? Image formed is here. A dash B dash is the image formed. Okay, so now you can see here that the image is formed above the principal axis, so it is erect, and because the rays are not actually meeting, so it is virtual. So image is virtual and erect. Now what is the location? Location will be either on F, sometimes at F, or between P and F, between P and F, and the size will be diminished in size, means smaller than the size of the object. This is the object, you can see it is larger, and this is the image, you can see it is smaller in size. So the word used is diminished in size. Okay, so the position can be either at F or between P and F. Fine. This will be the location, and the image formed will be virtual and erect image, because the rays are not actually meeting. I am repeating the concepts again and again so that it will get clear to you. Why we are calling it virtual? Because the rays are not actually meeting. Okay, and why it is erect? Because it is found above the principal axis. Fine. And remember children, if you learn the rules first, that how the light ray get reflected, it will be easy for you to trace the cases then. Fine. Now let's move on to the next slide and see the characteristics of images formed by convex mirror. Now a summary of the images formed by convex mirror. So let us see first what is the position of the object, then position of image, size of the image and nature of the image. So if the object is at infinity, what will happen? What will be the position of the image? So image will be formed at F. Fine, you have studied now only. And F is where? Behind the mirror in case of convex mirror. Okay. Now, what about size? Size will be highly diminished, very, very, very small. And what is the nature of the image? Virtual and erect. Now, if we'll keep the object at measurable distance between infinity and P, anywhere between infinity and pole, anywhere, then what is the position of the image? Image will be formed between F and P, and again it will be behind the mirror, very small and virtual and indirect. Okay, so have you noticed students that convex mirror always gives virtual and erect image, it never gives real and inverted image. Okay, and the size of the image is always smaller than the size of the object. Okay, and the image is always formed behind the mirror. Fine, so this you have to keep it in your mind. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and see some of the uses of concave mirrors. Now first, concave mirror again. Concave mirror is the converging mirror and convex mirror is the diverging mirror. Okay. So now concave mirrors are used in torches. Why in torches? Searchlights, headlights, because it is what type of mirror? It is a converging mirror. It converges the light at a place, and that's why it helps in searching the substances or the objects. Fine. So it converges the light at what? It focuses the light at one point, and that's why it can be helpful in the searchlights, torches, headlights of the vehicles. Fine. Now they are used as shaving mirrors. Why shaving mirrors now? Because you have seen that in case of concave mirror, if the object is kept very close to the mirror. Now while someone is shaving, the face has to be kept very close to the mirror. If the object is very close, that what happen? It forms a virtual and erect image which is enlarged in size. Okay, that's why it is used as the shaving mirror also. Then it is used by the dentist to see larger images. Okay, because it gives large images. Again, virtual and erect, large, and last case number 6 of concave mirror, you can again see for it. Then concave mirrors are used to concentrate sunlight to produce heat in solar furnaces. Solar cookers have concave mirrors because concave mirrors are converging mirrors. They converge the light at one place. Fine. Now let's see the uses of convex mirrors. Convex mirrors produce small virtual upright images. Now you have studied. So they are used as security mirrors. Security mirrors. Fine. You can see the security mirrors on the walls of the buildings or on the this road on the as the traffic mirrors also you can see they all are convex mirrors because they give you small images of the surroundings. Then rear view mirrors. Rear view mirror. This is the rear view mirror of the car. Okay. And we all know that they are convex mirrors. And why they are used here? Because they give a broad area look in a small size. Whatever is present behind, that complete view is seen in this rear view mirror. Okay, whenever a truck is coming from behind, you can see the complete image of the truck in the mirror. So it gives a virtual and erect image which is smaller in size. So it gives a broad view of the surroundings behind the car. That's why convex mirrors are used as rear view mirrors. Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide and see. That is, at last we are now comparing the images which are formed by plane mirror, concave mirror and the convex mirrors. Okay, so let us see first comparison between size. So image which is formed in the plane mirror is of the same size of the object, means height of the object and height of the image is the same in case of plane mirrors. Now what happens in case of concave mirror? It depends on the location of the object. it depends on the location of the object. You have seen that when the object is coming closer to the mirror, the size of the image goes on increasing, goes on enlarging, fine. And in case of convex mirror, the size of the image is always smaller than the object, fine. Now, attitude. Attitude means what is the nature now of this one. In plane mirror, it is upright, that means erect and virtual, and laterally inverted, means left appears right and right appears left. Now, in concave mirror, what happened? It is upright when object is inside F, means when the object is very close. Again, last case, sixth one. If the object is very close, that means between F and P, then it is upright and virtual, virtual and erect. Okay. Otherwise, it is real and inverted. But in case of convex mirror, it always forms virtual and erect. That means upright image. Okay. Now, location of the image. Image is, in case of plane mirror, image is same distance behind the mirror as the object is in front. You have studied this. Okay. Means the distance between the object and mirror and the image are the same in case of plane mirror. Okay, if you are standing 5 centimeters in front of the mirror, then your image is formed 5 centimeter behind the mirror. Okay, now in case of concave mirror, it depends on location of the object, it changes. And in case of convex mirror, image is always formed behind the mirror. Okay, now type. Plane mirror always gives virtual image. Concave mirror is the mirror which gives all the types of images. It gives virtual and erect image when the object is very close, and it also gives real and inverted image. Fine. Whereas convex mirror always gives a virtual image. Okay. So plane and convex gives virtual, whereas concave mirror is the mirror which gives all the types, real and inverted as well as virtual and erect. Okay. I hope the concepts are clear to you. Now, let us summarize what we have done today. So, we have seen how to measure the focal length of the concave mirror. Then, mirror formula 1 by f is equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. Then, magnification, that is h2 by h1. And then, rules for tracing the images by convex mirror. Then, image formation by convex mirrors. Then, characteristics of the images by convex mirror. Then, some of the uses we discussed. And at last, we did a comparison between the images formed by plane, concave, and convex mirror. I hope the concepts are clear. If not, do watch the video again and again. Still not clear, you can ask the doubts anytime through any of the media. Okay, so take care, all of you. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, goodbye.